discuss some basic concepts of electrotherapy. So first of all, we need to learn about the currents. I will try to use the international symbols, so you need to remember these symbols because these are used in daily modalities. So first of all, this symbol is representing the direct current, which is also called as the galvanic current. Now this is called sine wave and this is a symbol of alternating current. As you can see, this is alternating. It means that it is changing its polarity positive and negative, and it has a certain frequency. For example, in Pakistan it's about 50 Hertz. Most of the physiotherapy appliances and physiotherapy devices that use electrical principles, they are operating on the mains. They are using alternating current and they produce direct current. Now different direct currents are being classified based on some parameters which include frequency, number 2 waveform, and number 3 effects. So we are going to discuss these 3 parameters and we will see that what they mean. On the basis of frequency, we divide the currents, electrotherapy currents, into low frequency currents. Let's call them light. So low frequency, it's better to use the black one. So let's say low frequency, medium frequency and high frequency. Now this is very easy to understand. Low frequency currents are those currents whose frequency is less than 100, or normally it is said that from 0 to 100, the range is 0 to 100. For medium frequency it is 100 to thousands. In thousands, it can be, let's say, 9,999, as high as this. And if some current has frequency of more than 10,000 Hertz, it is termed as the high frequency current. Low frequency currents are usually the muscle and nerve stimulating currents. For example, we have TENS, we have Faradic current and various other currents, the diadynamic and other currents. Medium frequency has only the Ruschian current and interferential current, because these are the 2 medium frequency currents only available readily in the market. Then we have high frequency currents. So the devices that work on the high frequency currents, they are shortwave diathermy, therapeutic ultrasound and microwave diathermy. Now if we come back to discuss low frequency currents, which are routinely used by the physical therapists, so we see that we have different waveforms, and because of these waveforms we can achieve various effects. Now I will just try to make this. Waveforms, the currents can be classified into 2 type of waveforms. For example, it can be majorly alternating or direct. Because the direct current has limited use, so it is usually used as interrupted direct current, IDC, for denervated muscles. But for the alternating current, which is again part of the direct current, now this is very interesting to remember that first we turn on the unit on the alternating current and it is producing the direct current, but because the waveform of the direct current is created as such that it becomes an alternating wave, in reality it is direct current. Okay, so the wave is the basically created in different ways. So there are different classifications of the waves, and let's discuss the different waveforms. So the wave is, first of all, this is called as sine wave, and this is symmetrical. It means that the upper half and the lower half is the same in terms of amplitude as well as wavelength. So on x-axis this is wavelength shown by lambda, and amplitude milliamperes or millivolts or simply I. So if a wave is symmetrical, it means that on positive aspect and on the negative aspect, or positive half or the negative half, it will be symmetrical and identical. But sometimes there can be asymmetrical sine wave as well, that the positive half is reduced and the negative half is the same or increased. Or it can be vice versa, that the positive half is more and the negative half is less. We can also have some, let's say, process which is called as rectification. So we can have, from this sine wave, we can have half wave rectification. It means that we just cut out or omitted the lower portion or the upper portion, it depends. So any one portion, and it is called as half wave rectification, and now it becomes an intermittent current as well. If we go for full wave rectification, then the same sine wave will become like this, and it will be a continuous. So the other waveform can be square waveform, and it can be monophasic, just like this is monophasic, this is monophasic, monophasic, these are biphasic. So sine wave, biphasic, let's discuss the terminology. Biphasic symmetrical sine wave, or alternating sine wave which is symmetrical. Again, this is asymmetrical alternating sine wave, or biphasic asymmetrical sine wave. This is monophasic. So this is monophasic rectangular waveform. If we add another wave over here, let's say similar to the upper box, then it will become symmetrical rectangular waveform. Similarly, it can be asymmetrical just like the upper portion, and then we have triangular waves. We may have trapezoidal waves. This is called the trapezoidal, and again we can have like symmetrical and asymmetrical, monophasic and biphasic. Now it is important to understand that what happens when you apply this sort of current to a muscle or nerve is really very simple. So if we look at this, let's say this wave first, the current is gradually increasing, reaches its peak and then coming down, and the other half is also doing the same. So if we go for a contraction, it will be a smooth contraction and relaxation. Now for this rectangular wave, if we apply the same rectangular wave to the muscle, what happens? There will be a sudden increase, because you can see a spike, a rapid increase into the desired intensity, a sudden increase, sustained contraction, and then relaxation. For the rectangular, for the triangular, contraction and relaxation. But the plateau or the time it remains contracted is very little as compared to the triangular as not gradual, but this is very rapid. But on the trapezoidal, for example, there can be gradual increase in the contraction, then contraction is sustained, and then slow release. So it depends on, we can also call it as like this, for example, if we round it off. So it depends on the type of waveform that we use, that what is the effect we are trying to achieve. Secondly, the most important point apart from this is that the pulse width, which is in microseconds. So as a rule of thumb, just remember this: if you are treating small muscles, or if the area between the electrodes is less, then try to have minimum pulse width. For example, 100 microsecond or 150 or even up to 200. But if you are using large muscles or the area between the electrodes is larger, then you can use as high as 500 milliseconds of pulse. So designing the protocol will require selection of the waveform, selection of the current, then defining the pulse width of that current, intensity. It depends again if you are treating an acute condition, subacute and chronic. And lastly, if we come to see the effects, so you might have heard about this concept which is called as the selective stimulation. It means that different type of currents or different parameters of current have different effects. So selective stimulation means that it particularly hits or targets a certain type of fibers and produces the desired effects. For example, it's a common understanding that we have TENS and we have EMS in a single device. So what is the difference between TENS and EMS is that TENS and EMS, they also share some common characteristics, but depending upon these parameters that we discussed, the TENS, it mainly targets the sensory nerves and the EMS is mainly targeting the muscles, or you can say motor nerves as well. So this is basically dependent upon the waveform, this is dependent upon the pulse width, this is also dependent upon the intensity and type of current. So these parameters are really very important for us to understand and remember, and if you apply these parameters to your clinical settings, I believe that you are going to succeed. If you have any question or comment,